Hi, I'm Professor Elliot, and today we're going to go swimming in some hot springs and talk about ancient philosophy. This is Adventure Club.
Step outside and we are going nowhere, but it's probably somewhere that I'll stay. Take a drive and we can watch the sunset. Don't tell me you're done yet. No, not today, 'cause I'm 1,000 miles away.
The springs were accessed by a trail on the desert side of the San Bernardino National Forest. We packed our bags with food and drink, things of pleasure, and began the 2-mile hike down into the canyon below.
So those hot springs, at the top, they can get to about 116, 119 degrees, I've heard.
Lordy.
Down at the bottom, you've got a nice cool creek too, so if you want something a little bit chillier, we got that too. Make sure you stay to the trail, don't wander off. If you see trash, let's pick it up, keep this place clean. All right?
All right.
Cool, let's go.
do it.
Because of crustal extension, when two tectonic plates move apart, the Earth's crust is much thinner here. Water that permeates the rock can become heated. When that water hits the fault line, it follows the fractures of the fault back up to the surface. It just happens to be a perfect combination for a perfect haven of leisure.
Be excited. This is hedonism.
When it comes to hedonism, if you boil it down, very simple concept. Good is just pleasure. Anything that creates pleasure. Bad is anything that creates pain. There's a lot of different thoughts as to what is pleasure and what is pain. The two main that I want to talk about would be Epicurean and Cyrenaic. The Cyrenaics, they followed Aristippus. Now Aristippus, he believed physical pleasure. That was the thing. Like physical pleasure above all else. Epicurean, they followed Epicurus. He was more on the mental side of things. So in terms of pleasure, it's like reading a book. That's excellent. Sitting, having a drink with a couple of friends, just talking, the good company.
How would either of these approaches interpret pleasure at the cost of pleasure for others?
Oh, and that's a big part of it too. It's you gotta maximize pleasure for yourself as long as it's not taking away pleasure from others.
Interesting.
So if you enjoy killing people, that's obviously not a hedonistic view.
Oh.
See you later.
And Gina's out. So much for that.
No, don't bring her back here.
Personally, I've had a long week. I'm kind of leaning towards the Cyrenaic side of things.
Oh, I'm
today.
totally Cyrenaic all day.
All day.
Finally, we had arrived at the hot springs, and we began to indulge in a variety of pleasures, both physical and mental.
So are we feeling Epicurean right now, or are we feeling whatever the other one is? Aramaic?
This is Cyrenaic.
Cyrenaic. Aramaic? That's not right.
Personally, I feel like this is more of the latter because it's just really relaxing. I mean, at least for you two, you're indulging in some sort of substance. Some sort of substances, and I'm just kind of sitting here naked and chilling.
You're experiencing more of the Epicurean
Yes.
style of things.
Yes,
It's
I
just
am.
that absence of pain, that relaxation.
Yes, definitely.
The thing is, I'm drinking beer, but I'm not drunk yet. I'm not buzzed. So maybe
Right.
I'm not really experiencing...
Well, you don't have to be buzzed necessarily to enjoy it physically.
That's
I mean,
true.
the flavors, the flavor profile, just that.
Yeah,
that
it's
whole
kind of
thing.
warm,
Isn't
so...
it usually
Kind of warm.
Isn't it usually more extreme? Isn't the first of the two more extreme?
It's just the distinction. The only distinction is physical versus mental. That's all the
Alright.
distinction is.
Sometimes you have to be in uncomfortable circumstances or experience uncomfortable things to achieve your desires.
And that's true, and that's part of the philosophy. I mean, part of the idea is you have to look at what it takes to get there. If you're drinking a lot and you really love being drunk, you got to keep in mind in the future.
Cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah, liver problems or just hangovers the next day. So you got to find out what's going to maximize net pleasure over your lifetime. And I think today, in this particular case, as a group, we're practicing a little bit of both.
Before I wrap up this episode, I want to leave off with one personal request. Whenever you're going out adventuring, make sure to leave the location you're visiting in the condition that you found it in. This especially pertains to trash and garbage. Anytime I'm going out visiting these locations, I find bits of garbage that are left behind and tossed aside by people going there. If you think it was beautiful enough to visit in the first place, it's worth keeping it clean. I like to go the extra mile of picking up trash when I find it, but you don't have to do that. Just clean up the trash that you bring. Part 2 of this is graffiti. Now, I don't mind graffiti or tagging or street art, but in the right context. In the middle of the wilderness, it doesn't really fit in, and frankly, on this trail, people are covering it up on a weekly basis, so it wouldn't do you well to do it here anyways. With that said, please, if you enjoyed this show, like, subscribe, and comment, and by all means, tell all your friends about it, and keep on adventuring.